Hi there, welcome to the Commandeer Press Facebook page. I am Carolyn Fernandez, and I am here with author David Cole and illustrator Shannon O'Toole for the virtual book launch of their newest book, The Math Kids, an Incorrect Solution. This is book 5 in the series. There we are. And as always, with all our Facebook Lives, we're going to have questions at the end. So if you would like to ask a question, please put it in the comment box below. And if we don't get it to it during the live, still write it in. And I'm sure David and Shannon will reply back to you in the coming days. The Math Kids, an Incorrect Solution is available officially for purchase anywhere that you buy books. Keep an eye out for it. David, we're going to start with a short reading. I believe you've selected something.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the very beginning, just because I think it kind of helps set up the book a little bit and what drives a lot of it. So we'll start all the way back in chapter 1. I'm just going to read the first couple pages because I think it helps set things up. Low, dark clouds spit angry drops of rain onto the pavement, where they splattered into growing puddles of muddy water. Justin Grant kept his head down and plodded on towards school, trying to keep up with the much longer stride of Jordan Waters, his best friend since kindergarten. Truth be told, neither was in much of a hurry to get to McNair Elementary. That was unusual because both were good students and normally loved school, especially since they had formed the Math Kids Club with Stephanie Lewis. The three had solved the mystery of the neighborhood burglars together, but the club had become complete when they'd added Catherine Duchesne. With their new club member, they had solved the mystery of a bank robbery and found a fortune in gold that had helped the town recover from financial hardship. They had also come in second in the district math competition, but that was all in 4th grade. Now they were moving to 5th grade and things were changing, and not for the better. For one thing, Catherine and Stephanie were going to be in a different classroom. The girls were going to be in Mrs. Wilson's class, while the boys were going to be in Mr. Miller's. His nickname was Miller the Killer because he was so hard on kids. Some of the kids thought their 4th grade teacher, Mrs. Gouch, had been tough too. They had called her Mrs. Grouch when she was mad. But the word was that Mr. Miller was much, much worse. But that wasn't what was bothering Jordan about their new teacher. It was math. Mr. Miller hated math. He had the only classroom in the entire school who didn't have a math team in the school-wide competition. Mr. Miller loved English and social studies, but made it clear that math was his least favorite subject. Jordan did great in math, but he struggled with English. He hated reading, mixed up letters when he tried to spell, and couldn't stand writing papers. Mr. Miller was going to be his worst nightmare. This is going to be a lousy year, isn't it? Jordan said as he used his long legs to step over a puddle in a low spot in the sidewalk. Yeah, replied Justin glumly. He didn't even bother to try to step over the puddle. He was one of the shortest kids in his grade, and he knew his short legs weren't going to reach from one side to the other. So he just plowed through the puddle, splashing water everywhere. He was glad he had worn an old pair of tennis shoes and not the new ones his mom had bought him. It's going to stink not having Stephanie and Catherine in the same class, Justin said as he shook water from one leg. Wouldn't really matter since Mr. Miller hates math anyway, Jordan said. I heard he doesn't even have math groups. Justin didn't reply, just trudged through the rain in his soaked sneakers. First day of 5th grade was already miserable, and they hadn't even reached the school.
Oh, gosh. What a setup. That's amazing. So I wanted to start off with a question to you, David, because The Math Kids is a series, and so we've gone from 1 to 5 now. In your opinion, can kids just pick up with book 5 and start reading, or do you think it's better for them to read in sequence?
So I've talked to people, I've talked to some reviewers, and they said, this is the first one I read, and we were able to jump right in and do it, which is great. So the books are standalone. Ideally you'd read them as a series, because one of the cool things about a series is the kids are growing. The stories are getting more complex. I looked back to the first book and it was 101 pages, and I think this one is 172. So they're getting consistently longer. The topics are getting a little bit, subject matter is getting a little bit deeper, particularly in this book. It's a little bit more serious subject matter. So you can jump into either one, but it's kind of fun to grow with the kids and they're advancing in age and they're becoming more mature and I think it would kind of help to grow with them.
And did you find, this is going to be a question for both David and Shannon. What were your challenges and successes that you found in growing children? Because quite often people write a book and the characters are kind of stagnant at that age when it's a one-off book. With you writing a series, are you mindful of growing the children, or do you find from book to book you just tweak certain things because you feel like the kids have grown a class older? So we'll start with David and then we'll go to Shannon.
Okay. I like it. I like that we're getting to know more and more about the characters each time, right? So we know that Catherine is really into art and Stephanie's into soccer, and then as we find out in later books, we're seeing some of these another characters maybe into music, and how does that all tie in together with math? Their personalities start to change and grow. There's a little bit more confrontation between characters, which I think adds a little tension and makes it a little bit more interesting. So it's been fun to kind of see some of the character arcs as we go through.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Shannon.
I think for me, it's a very unique opportunity to get to illustrate the same characters over a long series. I don't often get that opportunity. I think, similar to David, I think it's very interesting to see them grow and to kind of tweak little things to show that they've aged or that they've changed and developed a bit more. I think the more I illustrate them, the more I start thinking about like detailed things about their character, like their posture, like how would Stephanie stand if she's frustrated? And because, I've drawn her so many times, I can kind of have her own personal posture that kind of matches her character at this point in the story. And I think in terms of them like changing each book, it's one grade later in book 5. They're a little taller. Like I don't want to like sprouting, because it's only like the one grade and you don't notice it when they're together. But I try to consider when they're around other adults and like in a different environment that they're just like maybe an inch, half inch taller each time. But it would be like a subtle development or maturity in the characters. But it's interesting. It's a fun opportunity to get to draw them slowly going through each grade.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's valuable for readers who may choose to read the entire series 1 to 5, because you see a change in the characters. Like the kids they see a growth between all of the books. Shannon, I know that you enjoy leaving Easter eggs in your books, and I was wondering if in An Incorrect Solution, were there any Easter eggs in here that you wanted to shout out?
Always. I usually will sneak in my old dog, Edgar. His little portrait is usually in almost everything I illustrate. So he's on Mr. Miller's mug on his desk, but it's hard to see once you've actually printed it. I think it's a bit darker in the print version, but his face is on Mr. Miller's mug. And actually the first chapter that David just read from, the house in the background where the kids are walking to school, that was the house I grew up in, my childhood home. So that's what my front lawn looked like and the edge of my childhood home. So I snuck that in there.
David, you're shaking your head. Did you know these? Or
No. This is when I find out about these, which is kind of fun.
I just look forward to our virtual launches to hear about the Easter eggs and all like the background stuff. It's the good stuff. David, how have you found it more challenging to find new math solutions and math problems for each book? Because each book, each one in the Math Kids series does have puzzles and cryptograms and math things to solve. Do you ever run out of math ideas, or for a certain grade, do you ever get roadblock going, gosh, grade 5, grade 6, I'm not quite sure?
Yeah, it's I buy a ton of math books because I like solving puzzles myself, and because I teach math classes and coach some math teams, the kids all love doing these puzzles. So I usually have a lot of them at my disposal. Sometimes I'm trying to I have to decide in my mind, wow, could a fourth grader do this puzzle? Is that too hard? Kind of thing. But surprisingly, a lot of these are kind of tested out on kids ahead of time. In fact, I tested some out yesterday for some stuff I'm thinking about in in book 8, and that did not go as well as I had hoped. So I do kind of test them out ahead of time and make sure grade wise is that going to be appropriate, the math stuff. But I'm a math guy, and there's tons of math out there, so I can always find math topics.
I'm just going to the pages for anyone who feels like, oh my gosh, this is a math book, this might be too much for my kids. You actually do put the solutions at the back of the book. So the math, it's not like an exam, right? The math puzzles are married into the story so that the kids can do it at the same time. But at the end of the book, in the appendix, you actually do have the solution so that kids can do the full circle.
Yeah, I try to make the books. I'm hesitant to say they're educational, but I had a reviewer said once, and I really loved it. Said there is an amazing amount of knowledge packed into this book that kids may not even recognize. And I said, then I did it right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was just talking about different ways to do multiplication yesterday with some kids, and they hadn't seen this, and going, "This is so cool! I just didn't know that." There's all these different ways of doing some of those things. So my goal is I would like a kid to love to read the book on its own, even if they don't like math. If they like math, they may like it a little bit more because they might work the puzzles. But you don't have to work the puzzles. You can kind of read through. The story is still the story. It's still has to be fun for the kids to read. I have an old friend that I used to work with, and he goes, "I know these are for kids." He goes, "But I can't wait to get the next one as an adult to read them." So I said, "Great, yeah, that's that I like that as well." So it's got to be a fun story. But wow, if they learn some math out of it, that's great.
Yeah, like this definitely is a really good middle grade novel for kids because you have Shannon's amazing illustrations here with the text. So those middle grade readers do kind of get. Do you find, being a teacher and an illustrator, Shannon, do you find that illustrations help give kids a little bit of a mental break from the text so that they can help get visualization through the illustration?
Definitely. I think it anytime there's illustrations, I think kids just like to have that moment to pause and look at the characters and see if sometimes I've known a lot of children who like to see if their mental visualizations match the actual illustrations and what was intended in the book. And I think too, it also makes the book more approachable to those reluctant readers too. As a teacher, I know a lot of students who, when they see a chapter book with no illustrations, they automatically think, oh, this is for older readers. This is going to be a trickier read, and not realizing that the level is still matching their reading level. But when they see an illustration, they're like, oh, okay, this is my level. So for some reason, I think it just makes it a little more approachable to those maybe reluctant readers as well. Just having one or two illustrations throughout a book or in a chapter.
And David, when I opened up to this page, you touched on earlier that there are some issues, more complex issues in this book, book 5. I thought maybe you could go into kind of discussing how you approached bullying and how it was that you included it in this book.
Yeah, so bullying was a little bit of a theme. There's been some bullies kind of throughout the books, and a lot of it is, it's not all math. Some of it's personal relationships. In fact, a lot of the books are turning a little bit more to that, and sometimes math gets involved, but sometimes people problems are tougher to solve than math problems. So in this case, their kind of chief nemesis, the head bully, has been this Robbie guy, who may or may not be my oldest brother's name as well. It could be strictly coincidence, but there's usually a backstory behind bullies, and bullies don't wake up and say, yeah, I think I'll go push some kids around and be mean to people. And in this case, Robbie has some problems at home with his own dad, who happens to be a police officer. So dealing with that and trying to say, wow, this guy's a horrible bully, but you know what? He's got his own problems. Is there a way we can kind of work together so I can kind of help him out? And that ends up being a big part of this story is working with that and having them reach out. And as a kid, that's tough to do, right? It's tough to support the kid being bullied. It's much easier to say, oh, I'll just step aside, I'll walk down the other side of the hall. To step in there takes a lot of bravery. So we touch on that in this book.
It's hard for kids to not only navigate being bullied, but to see bullies and to figure out how that they, what they should do. Shannon, what was it like for you to be writing, to be drawing that?
It was a challenge because I know that it's such at certain points in the story, like you mentioned, it's much deeper, more complex situations, and sometimes a sensitive topic too that you're touching on throughout the story. So making sure that the expressions and the gestures that I'm portraying are appropriate, and that they suit the emotion of the story, but also allow for room for kids to imagine what is next in that picture, and not giving it all away, but kind of that initial expression or gesture before the action that the kids are anticipating. I think sometimes when you get to more sensitive topics like that, it's like what you're not drawing is important, if that makes sense. So I think this book was definitely an extra challenge there because the topics were a little more sensitive, and they're a little more rich in the sense that it's like a delicate topic. So that was definitely a challenge, but it was I enjoyed painting them because the expressions were really important. In
I think it's part of this maturing of the kids and maturing of the series as well as it goes through. And it could be a third grader picks up book 1, and by the time they're reading book 4 or 5, maybe they're now in 4th grade or 5th grade, and they've also aged, so they look at things a little bit differently as well. So I think it was appropriate to do that. I do talk in the appendix a little bit more of the serious side of bullying, and with the important part of, hey, tell somebody, reach out to a parent or a teacher or a counselor at school if you see things like that, and you can be part of the solution then.
And the appendix at the end can be a really good discussion guide as well. If parents are reading this with their kids, or if a teacher is reading this in class, they can use the appendix as a discussion guide to start those as a launching pad for some questions. And it's not a threatening bullying situation for the reader. It's so parents don't need to be worried about, oh my gosh, is this going to start any triggers or anything. I think it's very age appropriately done. And remember that middle grade books are generally for the 8-year-old to 12-year-old age range. And so there's a lot of different maturity and reading ability in that age range. And I think that these books certainly do fit that whole span of ages. Now, knowing that there are books 1 to 5 currently out, and 6, 7, and 8 are on deck. So far, and this is for both of you, David and Shannon, I know this is a difficult question to ask, but do you have a favorite book in the series as of yet?
I'll let Shannon lead on this one because she'll probably approach it from an artistic standpoint.
Without any spoilers, the next one was one of my favorites to illustrate. I don't want to give too much away, but there was a lot of different settings for the next one that I got to play around with and explore. And I had a lot of opportunity to do some research too, and to look up different unique references when I was illustrating those pictures. So I think for me, that was definitely my favorite from an illustrator standpoint to illustrate. So you'll see that, I guess, when it comes out. But that one was definitely, I think, might be my favorite. And an encrypted glue was probably one of my favorites too, because that was the first one that we tried the different kind of layout and cover designs. And I think it just got me really excited for the books following that to get to change the cover a bit.
And I would say usually my favorite is the last one I wrote, because that was the one that I've just been so involved with. I did like Encrypted Clue quite a bit. That was it was the kind of transitional book for me from kind of some of the earlier ones where we got a little bit deeper and longer in the books, and I had more time to explore, and I wasn't trying to fit into something that'll fit in 100 pages. It was like, right till the story is done. And as an author, that's a great opportunity to say, okay, I haven't quite told the story yet. There's more that needs to be on here. I also liked the map that was in the encrypted clue and codes and ciphers and things I think kids are interested in. I always was. Book 6 is going to be I'm really looking forward to reading the whole layout of everything in book 6 though, because that's kind of another of my favorites as well.
And to touch on book 6, at the end of book 5 here, Commandeer Press has put in the first 2 chapters of book 6 as a teaser for readers, so they can go ahead and read The Triangle Secret, which is book 6 in the Math Kids series. And I think that is a great way, because I know a lot of kids are, when they finish a book, they're kind of like, oh, whereas this one will be like, well, shoot, now I want to read. Like, now I want to keep going. I want to know what's going to happen in the next book. And I think that that's a great idea to add the first and second chapter in. It's a great way to get kids ready. And 6 is coming out. We were just talking about this before we went on. Book 6 in the series is coming out in the spring of 2022, and book 7 is coming out in the fall of 2022. So kids don't have to wait a long time for the next book in this series. It's nice that you can, and holiday gift giving is coming up. It's kind of great to start a collection. And, you can start with book 1 and, bundle a bunch of Math Kids books together. Or now, you know what? You have your next 7 holiday gifts to buy already, already planned, because you will have books 1 through 7 available to you as of fall 2022.
There you go. And you throw a couple Grandmasauruses in there as a bonus, and there you go.
Like, your holiday shopping is easily done. We're getting close to our 30-minute mark, so we're gonna end with some of our favorite questions. I think I've asked you this, David, before, but what are your advice for people who want to become a writer, somebody who has that story in them?
Write it. Everybody, I think people focus on, how do I find a publisher or an agent or whatever? Just love the story, write it. And I wrote the first 3 books in the series without ever looking to publish them. They were stories I wanted to write it, loved it. And if you're going to do that, your kind of passion for that will come through, and then you can see the next step. But go out, put in the work, and write your story.
Shannon, how about you for somebody who wants to be an illustrator?
It's actually similar advice. I'd say do it because you love it. I think especially illustrating for children's books, it's such an inherently fun type of work that you're doing, that if you're not having fun when you're drawing that picture, it's going to show. So I think definitely paint and draw because you're enjoying it and that you're loving it, and that someone will eventually love it too when they get a chance to see your portfolio of work. And I definitely think too, just like meet other children's book authors and illustrators and learn from them. I've always known I wanted to paint or draw or do something in the arts. And it wasn't until I started joining CANSCAPE or SCBWI and all these different associations for writers and illustrators that I got to meet people actually doing the job I really wanted to do and pick their brain and ask questions and learn. And it's been such a awesome journey. So I think if you want to be a book illustrator, do it because you love it, and get out there and start doing your research and your homework, because it's fun, even just researching how to be an illustrator too.
And David already said that he buys a lot of math books so that he can have a good research file. What tools do you use, Shannon, for illustration? Do you line sketch everything by hand?
I am very traditional. I draw and paint all the illustrations using traditional media. So I start usually with pencil. And I find with illustration, I tend to lean towards watercolor paint. I just think that it has so much flexibility. It lets you be really tight and detailed with certain parts, and then very loose and more emotional with other parts of your illustration. So it's definitely the tool I use for most of the illustration work that I do. The only problem with watercolor is that you can't really, it's hard to go back and correct anything. So if you do make a mistake, having this, like using some kind of digital editing is helpful. And I think there's been times with Math Kids and Grammosaurus where we decide at the end, oh, you know what, actually so-and-so should hold this in their hand instead of this. And so having that digital tool where you can repaint something with watercolor and then like edit it and stick it on top and manipulate it is very helpful. So I definitely, for most illustration I do, it's watercolor, marker, pencil, and then some kind of digital editing tool at the end in case I make a boo-boo.
Boo-boos happen. They do.
Always.
They do.
For everyone.
Yeah. Well, we were talking earlier. I love seeing, I mean, and it's kind of old school, shoot, sketch, take pictures, send them to us. And I always loved seeing the first pictures just to, to get her concepts out there. So that's always fun as an author to kind of start seeing visualizations of, what you wrote.
Yeah, because we were talking about that earlier, saying, did you have any idea of what the characters would look like when you started writing those first 3 books?
No. I mean, I had a few physical characteristics and a few things we actually changed because I like how she drew the characters, and now that's what they look like. I mean, so I know now what they look like, and so in some cases we changed the words to fit the picture, and which is great because I'm not an artist, so I try to picture things in my mind when I write it, but to be able to then see it really helps me to visualize. So.
And especially, I'm sure working towards your future books as well, having the visualizations are really half the battle of what are you going to write, because you know exactly how to describe who you're writing about.
Yeah, definitely. When I'm writing, I have the books kind of all over my desk, and I will go back and read some sections, and I'll look at pictures, and that a lot of times will spur where I'm going direction wise. So.
Do you write in blocks? Like, okay, today I'm going to do 2 chapters, or do you just write as much as comes to you in a day? I
write when it's flowing. If I try to type and I'm there an hour later and I've got 1 paragraph written, it's not the day to do it. I will typically throw that paragraph away anyway because I just struggle to find the right words to do anything. Other days I might write 20 pages, but it just flows and I don't really even hardly know that I've written. It's just kind of flowed. And it's interesting because sometimes the story will take a direction turn that I didn't think about, but the story kind of led me there. Now it's like, okay, I got to change what I thought was the ending because I'm over here now. I can't get back to where I thought I was going, and that's okay. And to me, those make the better stories when it's flowing like that.
Yeah. And knowing that you work ahead of time, and then sometimes book overlaps in what you're editing versus what you're writing. Does it ever get confusing to be, what are you on right now? Because we were saying, this is book 5, book 6 is coming, book 7 is also coming, and I'm sure there's, work being done. We're promoting this, but you're editing that. Is it get confusing?
A little bit. There's usually not that much overlap because when I'm done with the book, then I'm doing some research for book 8, but I'm kind of waiting for the edits to book 7, and I'd like to kind of wrap that up from my viewpoint, and I get my part done probably sooner than everybody else, and then the pictures are coming a little bit later. There's some overlap there, and then there's a lot of work where they're typesetting and doing all this other magical stuff at the end, but then I can focus on the next book.
How do you feel, Shannon? Because I know you work at, sometimes for Grammosaurus books, which came out October 7th, also available. Shannon has it over there and her behind her.
Yeah,
I'm trying to go there. How do you find with working on multiple projects at the same time?
To be honest, I like to be busy. And so I work better when I have many things on the go. It matches what's going on in my brain, I think, to have like a bunch of things happening at once. And I enjoy it, but I definitely can just kind of shift gears into a different project. And actually, similar to you, David, if I'm not in the mood to paint, I will accomplish nothing sitting at my desk for hours. And then certain days I will completely finish the whole cover of the Math Kids and still have energy to do an illustration for Grammosaurus the same day and be able to kind of shift between the 2 projects. I find I work in kind of batches like that. Like I kind of am inspired for 3 straight days, and then I need to take a complete break for 2, and then I come back and do everything at once. But it can be, it's similar to David. Usually if I'm finished one Math Kids project, there's a bit of a lull before the next one comes out. But with the promotion, we are promoting this book that we finished last year, and I'm currently working on book 7. So that is a little, like, I do have to pause and think, well, which book is that picture from that we're talking about? Or, but yeah, it's interesting to kind of be bouncing between multiple books or multiple projects within the series.
I want to close out today. We're at our 30-minute mark, guys. This time always goes by so fast. You have an amazing acknowledgement section in the back of this book, but I wanted to give you guys an opportunity. Is there anybody that you want to shout out here today? No.
Anna?
I guess always family. I mean, they're the ones that always have to deal with, I'm busy, I have a deadline, you need to go do this for me. So I appreciate all the help and support, I guess, always from my family.
Good. David, any?
I for me, family, of course, but it's just all the kids that I work with that give me feedback, and kids who reach out and go, hey, would you do like a Zoom meeting with me? I want to ask you questions about your book. I'm like, wow, love that. And I get some letters from kids, and that just always kind of keeps you going. Like, hey, I hit the mark here somewhere. So so that's always fun.
Well, I would like to thank you, Shannon and David, for taking the time to join us today. Their latest book, The Math Kids: An Incorrect Solution, which is book 5 of the Math Kids series, is available for purchase. It is a great holiday gift. Support your independent booksellers, but it is also available at major booksellers as well. And I would even be so bold as to say, I think that if you emailed Commandeer Press and wanted a signed book plate by Shannon or David, we can certainly help facilitate getting that to you free of charge. So to make your gift of a middle grade book to whoever is middle grade in your life be a little bit more special and a little bit more unique to them. So thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and have a good rest of the day.